Hello, Sidney here, and welcome to the Drunken Ork. Now, if you've watched many of my other build videos, you might have noticed that I've got a bit of a fondness for Deff Dreads. I do love Deff Dreads. I think it's a great kit, as I've said many times before, loads of scope for sort of kit bashing and converting and what have you. So I've now got 9 finished Deff Dreads. Some of these I've done full build videos on, like the Badmoon ones, and I think I might have done one for a Deff Skull. Maybe I didn't. No, I might not have. Anyway, I thought I'd put them all together and do a showcase vid for all 9 Deff Dreads. Part of a Dread War, which is going to include so far 10 killer cans as well. So if this goes alright, I might do one for the 10 killer cans as well. See what you think of those. Last 3 I did do build videos for, but I never showed them off fully painted, so that's something to look forward to. And if the videos do well enough, I might get myself a new camera. Hey! Because the video footage of some of these dreads, I don't know, I just think it's a little on the washed out side. Let us know what you think in the comments anyway, see if it's alright or not. So anyway, let's get cracking. So this is the first Deff Dread I ever built, and to be honest, it was probably within my first dozen models or so. One of the first things I got was the Start Collecting Orks box set, which came with one of these fellas and a few like the obligatory Ork knobs and some Ork boys. And yeah, I mean, the kit, there was so many options. I was a little bit bewildered, so I stuck with the box art. Hence box art build. Pretty much close to what you see. I think this is all 4 combat options. I think the box art has like a Scorcher or Rockets or something on it. But I was just, even though I stuck with the actual build, I was just in love with all the different sort of options you could get, not just with the kit, but when you come to painting them up. I painted them as a Goff, which is what I was painting at the time. And one of the armour plates is blue with a little U on it, because I've got a mate who was getting into his ultramarines around the same time. And yeah, there was so many choices, and it was a great way to start. I knew as I was building, I'm thinking, yeah, I want more of these. I definitely want more. He's a terror in the game as well, although not the easiest to fit on the table if models are, you know, pushed up close together like in a teleporter. I mentioned before there, models which are difficult to fit on the table, if things get crunched up. Yep, this fella's right at the top of the list. I had a pair of Dune Crawler legs from the Onega Dune Crawler, and I wanted to use them as the legs of a big spider sort of dread. 4 claws, 4 legs, octo dread, whatever. But as I was building them, when I got the Onega, I realised it came on like a 120mm base or something. It was massive, so I thought I can't do that. I need to have them on like a 60mm base, because I like to keep the base sizes sort of official. So to do that, I had to have him sort of rearing up. So his back legs have got the additional sort of stability plate, so his front legs have got little claws because they're also used to attack, and he's sort of looming over. Biggest challenge for him was getting all the arms, all the claws and the front 2 legs sort of visible, you know, without them all being smushed together. And I also done away with the engines on the back. Since the Dune Crawler had, like, you know, a main body to it, I put some exhaust on that and just plated over the engine sockets using the armour plates off a 1st edition, maybe it's Rogue Trader edition battle wagon, the armour plates on the wheels. But he's a lot bigger than the rest of me Deff Dreads, and yeah, I was quite pleased how he came out. He's a lot more stable than he looks as well. Well, this is the third Goff Death Dread I've done. Totally different from the rest, as I didn't use the Death Dread kit. I used 2 killer cans and just stuck them together, top to top. So the top of this one's actually the bottom of a killer can. And that's why the 2 engine sockets on the back as well are over and under, as opposed to side by side. I used can legs for this because I had some. I don't think I had any Death Dread legs at the minute, because despite all the options you get with a kit, you just get the right amount of legs. But I had some arms left over, so we give them 2 claws, or rather a claw and a saw, and a couple of scorchers, just because I quite like the scorchers. One is a Death Dread scorcher, which sort of just sits in the main socket, and the other one's a killer can scorcher, which is on the end of a little arm. Despite the fact he's made from a couple of killer cans, he's pretty tall. He's a bit taller on the Death Dread, at least in the main body part anyway. By the time you take into account all the exhaust and that, there's not much in it. But he does look a little bit more svelte as well. And the face was just a Death Dread jaw plate, using the top teeth from the killer can body, and then a couple of the Death Dread toes, little toe claws I stuck on for the eyes. Now I think this was the second Death Dread I ever built. Now I wanted to do a little bit more dynamic sort of posing with him, and I'd looked at a few online. A lot of the Death Dreads running look like they're going to smash your face into the ground, but I think he came across as sort of running, or at least cavorting, you know, quite well. It's all about how you position the toes as well, and put a slight angle on the body. He is pinned into the base, because it's only that right toe that connects him to the base. And being a Death Skull, as he obviously is, he's got the 2 big claws and a couple of custom Mega Blasters. Let's get some benefit from that shoot and reroll. He's called Ludo because he looks a little bit like Ludo, the big ginger monster monkey guy thing from Labyrinth. And I actually entered him into a competition hosted by Rivets and Daka, and he was Rivet's favourite entry. Hey, didn't win, his wife was judging, bless her hobnail boots, but Rivets liked him. I always remember that. But yeah, second Death Dread I built, very pleased with him. So this is Jackie Khan. He was my second Death Skull Death Dread. I wanted to increase the dynamic posing that I'd been doing, and I had the idea of having a Dread vaulting over a wall. You know, hand on the wall, pushing himself over. Couldn't get the claw grip in the wall right though. So in the end I thought, what if he's kicking something? He's kicking a Space Marine. So that's where it started. It was easy enough. I just cut the leg into pieces. You know, cut the knee, cut the ankle, and then instead of having it in that 90-degree angle like it normally is, all squatting, just straightened it out and ran a pin through all the pieces. The Space Marine himself was sort of scratch built from the bits box pieces. I think the legs from the knee down in the backpack are from the Gravis Captain, the front of the torso is from an Aggressor, the back is in his bum plate are just moulded from green stuff. The arms are from Tactical Marines, as is the plasma gun. The left hand's normally cupping a bolter, but as you can see, his knife spilling from his hand. And shoulder pads I think were in cursors. And there's a pin running all the way down through him, down one of the legs, this is his left leg, into the base. There's no weights, there's no need for them. The centre of balance is firmly over the base and it's rock solid. I painted him up nice and grubby. Originally I painted a rising sun on his chest plate, stuck the pics online. It got pointed out quite politely for the internet mind that that is a hate symbol akin to a swastika, which mortified us. I hadn't really thought of that, not growing up in that part of the world. So I remember rushing upstairs, I probably plodded at about 1:30 in the morning and quickly painted the yin and yang symbol over it, which was a much better symbol, to be honest with you, for Jackie Khan. But he's always been quite well received, this fella. A lot of admirers, a lot of nice comments online on Reddit. You know what I mean? Nice comments on Reddit. Does happen. And yeah, really pleased how he came out. Another dread I done just after Jackie Can is Judge Deff Dread, because I just wanted to do a Deff Dread on a motorbike. I had this spare, I suppose, outrider bike, and I thought, yeah, Deff Dread on these knees up by his chin, and you know, I think it'll look class. So as I was putting them together, I thought this bike looks more and more like a Lawmaster, the Judge Dread bike. So the Dread just morphed into a Judge Dread. The helmet's made out of a Kinder Surprise capsule, which I sort of just shaved away at the back so it would fit over the main body of the can, and then I just piped on the details of the helmet with some plastic putty from Vallejo. Shoulder pads are just bits of plastic card and obviously Deff Dread pieces. The exhausts at the back were just plastic tubes. I wanted to save some more dread exhausts, so dead useful. And I got the right arm that's holding the handlebar was a Deff Dread arm, and the hand is off a resin hand from RTLW that came with the Iron Boss. And then you just paint them up a bit like a Judge Dread, don't you? Dark blue armour, green feet and hands, golden shoulder pads, red trim, sorted, dead easy. Again, the bike's pinned at the base through a pin, obviously, at the back wheel, so he's popping a wheelie off that rock. That's it really. It's a good one for Punzo, Judge Deff Dread, on his Warmaster, long arm of the claw. That's why he's got a long claw. And of course you have to have a KMB as one of his like a pistol arm, although he has got a second one in his armpit, so you know, do with that what you will. This is the first of my Badmoons Deff Dreads. After I'd made the big Goff Spider Dread, Big Bad Bill, obviously I'd used the legs. I had the top of the Dune Crawler left, and I realised the bottom of the Deff Dread. So I thought, well, I've put the first two bits together, let's stick these two bits together as well. And it looks like a little minibus on little stumpy legs. I quite like it. Just started going to town with the detail. Had to cram on as many custom Mega Blasters as I could. So there's one on the front, there's one on an arm coming out the back, there's one on a little side mounted sponson, and of course there's the main big gun of the Dune Crawler to start with. I've used that as a KMB as well. It's also got a little sort of retractable mechadendrite or whatever they're called, and that can be swapped out as a combat weapon. If you just want to run 3 Mega Blasters and still have a combat option as well, you can do. It's the only dread I've done as well is actually the crew are poking out. There's Ork popping out the command hatch, pointing and shouting on, and there's a little grot trying to catch 40 winks in a missile tube as well. Weathered it to hell and used a lot of rust effect on it, where I was just basically painting on super glue, a thin super glue with a cocktail stick, and then sprinkling some bicarbonate soda on. Gives a nice sort of rough, rusty effect, and if you just paint that dark brown and dry brush it up with lighter browns and oranges, it looks pretty nice. But a proper Badmoon Deff Dread, all the shootiness. My second Badmoon Deff Dread, much more recent, is the Dagger Dread. Now this is where I started just getting a little bit mental, I suppose. I just thought, right, what haven't I done? All my dreads have got 2 legs, or 4. Let's do one with 3. So he's got 3 legs. I have no idea how he moves. Every time he takes a step forward, the other two seem, I think they would lock up. And of course he's got the big moon face, very Badmoony. And the moon face was just made with, I cut a template out for the shape of the moon, and then I padded the sides with green stuff to give it some girth, and then I shaved the green stuff with a couple of flat bits just to take the glue better, and then just glued plastic panels on it. Made sure the visor fit, made sure the jaw fit, stuck a conch on it, that means nose, and yeah, that was it. The guns, I did want to use the heavy onslaught Gatling cannon from the Redemptor Dread, but I figured since it was such a big gun, I'd use one of those ball and chain weapons from the truck and just use that as a crane. That's pretty good. I just stuck the one engine on the back as well, saving on those exhausts, and just used a bit of plastic card to fill in the gaps at the sides. And again, for other weapons, what's he got? He's got a standard big shooter. He's got the, is it the Hurricane Bolter off a Land Raider or something up there? Just lots of tiny little bullets. And because I wanted to have the option of a close combat weapon, I give him a kill saw, but I mounted a couple of heavy bolters on it as well, one either side of the blade, so he can go and choppy with it, or shooty. He's also got a standard onslaught Gatling cannon mounted up on the top there with an automatic sight, and his right eye is a shooter. Despite the fact I think he's got 12 guns, counting things like the heavy onslaught Gatling cannon as one. In game he's got 4 big shooters, unless you're running with 3 and a saw. I think if you took the actual number of shots that those 12 guns put out in game, it's about 36 shots, and some of those are pretty hefty shots. But in game, as a Deff Dread, it's about 12 to 20 big shooter shots. It's more likely to be 9 to 15 to be fair, because I generally run him with a saw just so he's not completely useless. But if I'm being honest, he's probably my favourite. And my 9th Deff Dread, and my 3rd Badmoons one, is Pelton Bomb, because he's a rocket man. Again, a bit carried away with the weapons, but I think that's fine with Badmoons. I wanted an all KMB, an all shooter, and an all rocket dread, so this was the last piece of the puzzle. The right arm rocket is the top missile rack from a Tau Rocks. Just cut it in half and folded them both together, because if they were as they were in the Tau Rocks, it would be ridiculous. There's a normal rocket launcher, his left lower arm, and a couple of rockets either side of a drill as a close combat option. And his left arm was basically just 4 rockets from a toy model kit built around a plastic tube. And I just put some sights and some green stuff cabling in. He's also got the 2 big rockets, I think the burner bombs from the WASBomb kit, stuck on a couple of launching racks on his back. And they're the same racks, or they came from the same kit as the left-hand rockets. That's not to mention his main torso, of course. He's got a missile rack on the top of his head, which comes off one of the Imperial tanks. He's got a big mouthful of rockets, which came off one of the Primaris Imperial tanks. I think it was the Impulsor. And then he's got a few little rocket launchers, or grenade launchers, whatever they are, down by his main body, which came off, I think it was a Redemptor. The main body is one of the little servo haulers from the Mechanicus kit, and his radar on the top came off the Impulsor as well. Because the servo hauler body came with a little sort of Imperial computer at the back, I had to have someone stood there, nothing else to cover it up. So I got a little resin grot with a headset and radio pack on, and just stuck him there, cut his arm and bent it down a bit, so it looks like he's actually operating the controls, not just waving at them. Little bit of freehand on one of the rockets, little Badmoon on some checks, little splashes of me little signature blue knocking about, plenty dirt and grime, and put some exhausts coming out of the servo hauler body instead of the back of the dread because of the big rocket racks. So that's my 9 Deff Dreads. I love the Deff Dread kits. There's so much versatility that nobody should have more than one dread that looks the same. We should all be different. Now 9, 3 units of 3, is the most you can run officially in a list, and I thought when I got to 9, I'm going to be done. I'll not need to do any more than that. That's me whack. But you know what, I'm going to do some more. I love them. I mean, I love the killer cans, but these Deff Dreads, they've just got that little bit more scope to them. So let us know what you think of the Deff Dreads in the comments below. And if you like them, why not hit like? Give the bell a little tickle. There's going to be one of these for killer cans coming up soon. But for now, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.